I was gonna clean my room, but then I got high. I was gonna do the dishes too, but then I got high. Hello, and welcome to the next episode of Matt and Todd Go to the Movies. The podcast where Matt and Todd watch a movie, and then we talk about it, sometimes over the internet, sometimes in person, and then we dish it on to you, the loyal listeners, and hopefully everyone has a good time. I am Todd Domer.
And I'm Matt Malloy, and yes, we've reviewed another movie. This time a movie from Netflix. We decided to supplement our in-theater viewing experience with some Netflix movies, since right now there's not a ton of movies out, and since we're paying individually rather than our normal bulk rate with our normal home theater, which is not yet open. So,
And maybe not everyone is going to the theater yet, so...
True. So if you're at home still watching Netflix, we got you covered.
This one's for you.
With the Netflix special. So today we're going to be talking about a movie called Synchronic, which is not a real word in the English language, but it is kind of fun to say. Mm-hmm. So it is a movie about drugs, as you alluded to. In fact, a drug called Synchronic is sort of one of the main characters of this movie. So it stars Anthony Mackie of Avengers fame. And the other guy in it I recognize, but I don't know what he's from. James. I forget
something. I recognize him from something too.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that was it for me. It was mostly the Anthony Mackie show.
Jamie Dornan.
Yes, Jamie Dornan.
50 Shades of Black guy, right?
50 Shades of Black?
50,
Gray?
50 Shades of Grey? Yeah. 50
Is
Shades.
Is that what he's from?
I think so.
Wow.
Let me just confirm that. Well, maybe I'm wrong. I don't see anything about 50 Shades of Grey popping up in his... No, yeah, he is. It's that guy.
It's that guy.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess he has a little bit of notoriety then.
Yes.
So, but I think that's it. The small cast in this movie, but I didn't recognize anyone else. Did you?
No, I didn't really.
Okay. So the movie itself... kind of interesting. It's sort of like a sci-fi futuristic a little bit, but set in present day still.
Yeah.
The main characters, Anthony Mackie's character and James Dornan's character,
Jamie,
thank you, are paramedics, and they work in New Orleans. However you want to say it, it's fine with me.
not fine with me though.
Okay. Well.
But I won't let you know which one I prefer.
Fair enough. So they work there. They're both. Well, one of them is married and has a grown kid who's 18, and
a baby too.
And a baby, right? Both. But the baby doesn't really play into it too much.
I don't think you ever... Well, you only see the baby once, so...
Okay. So, not critical to the plot, but does exist. So, these paramedics are going around, and this new drug, it's like a... what do they call it? Not a custom drug, but...
A synthetic drug.
A synthetic drug, sure. So it's not a real drug, but it has some weird effects on certain people, and you get sort of a lot of drug trip scenes in this movie where somebody takes the drug and then weird stuff happens, like it feels like they're traveling in time or something, and then anyway, they end up dead, usually, is what happens. So that's why the paramedics are on the scene, and they're seeing people who are overdosing on this synchronic drug. And then things take a twist when the adult daughter of one of the paramedics takes Synchronic and disappears. They don't know where she is.
Yeah.
So then what happens is Anthony Mackie's character kind of goes on a crusade to get rid of all the Synchronic in the world, and there's not that much of it. It's mostly in New Orleans, and so he actually successfully captures all the whole supply and intends to destroy it. And he is confronted by the designer drug. That's what I was searching for. The creator of the designer drug, Synchronic,
Right, it is.
is like a chemist guy, and he thinks it's bad, and he also thinks it causes you to actually travel in time, but only certain people who have certain conditions. Well, fortunately, Anthony Mackie's character has a brain tumor and has the exact condition that can allow him to travel in time if he takes the drug.
Right. If you're young enough,
Yeah.
it can send you through time because there's a certain part of your brain that hasn't calcified yet.
Right. Or if you
developed.
Or if you have a brain tumor.
Well, no, it's not because he has a brain tumor. It's because there are some adults who that never happened to them.
Okay.
And then he just happens to have a brain tumor.
I see. I thought the brain tumor was relevant to his power.
That's how they discover that this part of his brain
Okay.
is like a child's, like it never developed.
Gotcha. All right. So Anthony Mackie's character has got the Synchronic. He's got the knowledge that he can travel in time with Synchronic tablets, and he sets out to kind of document the process. And I think he has 7 tablets or something, and he ends up figuring out how the time travel works. And his eventual goal is to go and find the adult child of his buddy, his coworker.
Bestie,
yeah. And so eventually he does figure out the right spot because it's based on where you take the drug and where you sort of fade out into time travel, and then where you come back is the same place when you come back to the present. So he eventually figures out the right spot, time travels, finds the girl, and then the movie wraps up.
Yeah.
With a slight twist, but I won't reveal that part of it. So, there you have it. What'd you think of it, Todd?
Well, I'd have to say, based on our description, that this movie sounds like so bonkers and maybe a little too out there, but I dug this movie.
Yeah.
I wasn't a fan of the beginning of the movie because it was doing weird cinematic things that were very annoying to me first. Like, there'd be a couple of times I don't know if it was to establish that New Orleans is kind of like a drug area, but you'd have all these cases that these guys go to of people OD'd or they're whacked out on drugs, and then there'd be these weird single shot pan around the room shots that some creepy music would play, and it just did a full circle, and it was weird, and then the camera would flip around and go upside down and come up, and it was all those were real stupid. It was real dumb. But maybe a half hour into this movie, they just kind of dropped all that. It kind of fell off of doing that. Once you kind of really figure out what the story is, once they get to the meat of what's going on, you're kind of punched in the gut with this intense story of this girl missing, father and his best friend, and the best friend, it's like his surrogate family. He's watched her grown up. They all care about each other. And into this kind of where's the girl? Anthony Mackie finds out he's got a tumor in his brain, and it's he doesn't tell his best friend because his best friend is already going through so much, and it's just this secret and all this Synchronic stuff, and he's just trying to figure out how to tiptoe through this. And once it took almost a sci-fi turn of what's going on, I was really enthralled by this movie. It just really grabbed me and took me for a good ride. I thought The acting is pretty well done, and I thought the special effects were very well done. Like, it wasn't so like the special effects aren't so grandiose, like, but it's like when the special effects happen, they're like subtle and nice and like just really bleed into the what you're watching so well, and I mean, this is just gonna get high praises for me. I thought everyone did really well. The story is like once you get past the first 20 to 30 minutes, and like they drop the weird camera stuff and the stupid soundtrack that started with it of just like ominous, creepy music. It's almost like someone else, after the half hour, someone else stepped in and took over this movie and took it in a great direction. And so I'm going to fully support this movie. You should watch this movie. I'm sure it's like PG-13 or something.
Yeah.
You know, so maybe not anyone under 13, or, you know, if you got a 12-year-old and you trust them, or, you know, they're mature enough, go for it. This is like a nice, suspenseful, kind of sci-fi, kind of heart-aching movie. Like, I mean, like, there's just like a lot of good elements in this movie, and it just was a really pleasant, honestly pleasantly surprising. Like, I was like, based off the start of this movie, I was like, oh, this is going to be a rough ride. And then it hits its stride and it goes hard. And I really, really dug it. So this is going to be high marks for me. I think everyone should watch this movie. Anthony Mackie's been, I guess, crushing it. If you weren't watching The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, you got this movie. Not so great in the movie we watched before where he was the robot. But this by far makes up for that. I was all over this movie. It's good. So go watch it for me. Matt, what'd you think?
Well, I did think it was an interesting story, and I do like kind of the sci-fi element, and we got some time travel, and that can be cool if it's done the right way, and I think they did pretty good with it. So, you know, the good elements to me are the story, the sci-fi parts, and the acting. The bad parts to me, you mentioned the weird, like, drug trip inducing or induced beginning of the movie. That was a little much for me to deal with.
Yeah.
And then I thought the story itself, the resolution was a little too easy for me.
Sure. I totally understand what you're saying.
Yeah. Like, once things were figured out, it was like, okay, we know exactly how this works now, and there's going to be almost no problem in dealing with things. And yeah, there are some problems with the eventual resolution, but I don't know. I wanted a little bit more complexity in my spinning of the story towards the end.
Yeah.
Of it, but overall an engaging story, and that's fine. So I would say if you like sci-fi, or you like kind of the thriller, figure it out, try and understand what's happening type movie, go ahead and watch this. It's worth your time. Pull up the Netflix and sit down for a couple hours of nice engaging story. And if you want to do drugs yourself, I recommend doing that before the movie starts. And
only designer drugs.
Right. You'll probably enjoy it even more. So that's where I sit.
Nice. All right. So how many? Oh gosh, I'm blanking on the word. What's when he travels in time for the first time, and it's like a Spanish, what's the guy's name? Like, what's that kind of person's name?
Oh, like a conquistador?
Conquistador? Is that okay? That's what I was leaning towards.
I don't know if there were conquistadors in Louisiana ever, but that's what I would describe it as too, is like a guy wearing the funky Spanish looking helmet from from olden days.
Right. How many Spanish conquistadors would you give this movie from 0 to 5?
Yes. Well, in this case, 5 conquistadors being the best.
Yes.
More conquistadors, better rating. I'm going to go with a 2.9. This is above average for me, but not really in the great category, or I would say just outside of really good. So good, a decent film for me. That's where I land. I mentioned what I thought could be better already, and that would have bumped it up a little bit higher. But that's where I fall. So
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I've already played my hand, and I really like this movie. So
yeah.
Though I do agree with you that the resolution comes kind of easy.
Yeah.
But there's almost like 2 resolutions in this movie by the time you finish it, and the first resolution, I think, is a buffer for the second resolution.
Yeah, I can see that.
And so, yeah, I've had a number since we started talking, and I'm just going to go with it because it's my gut. I'm going to go with 4.
4.0.
Yeah.
Wowzers.
I can't remember the last time I dished out a 4, but I mean, yeah, I got to go with my gut here, and I got to be honest, I was like really enthralled with this movie. I was digging it.
Hey,
so
you got to go with your gut.
Yeah, that's what we're all about here.
Yep, guts.
So figure that one out.
Well, that's a 3.45.
Oh man, you were on top of that so fast.
Well, you can check my math, loyal viewers, if you want to.
I'm not going to check it because I believe in you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But yeah, 3.45 is a great rating from us. So even though I didn't think it was a great movie, Todd did. So that adds up.
Yeah.
That we land in the good to great category there. So, well, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of Matt and Todd Go to the Movies, where we reviewed Synchronic, starring Anthony Mackie.
I'm kind of missing when we're able to announce the next movie we're going to watch.
Yeah.
I thought that was a fun feature, but...
Well, we can announce the next movie we're going to watch, but it's going to be in theaters.
That's true.
And it's going to be called
Mortal Kombat!
Perfect. So we know this time. So we won't know every time, but this time we will know. And so look forward to that review coming up in the near future. And for the time being, thanks for listening to this review and our podcast. Please keep listening, and we'll keep making them.
Da 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 da.